Here I have a platformer game. So the player is a yellow square, and I'm just going to go. So the slope physics are awful, but slope physics are hard to do in Scratch, so I didn't really care. But we got some pretty good collisions going on. This lava, if you touch it, then you'll get sent back to the start, so you gotta avoid it. And once you reach the right side of the screen, then you'll go to the next level. And I won. That was a pretty short game, but yeah, anyways, here's all the blocks for it, just in case you wanted to see. And I'm going to remake this project in beautiful, wonderful Godot. So click New. I'm going to call this game Platformer. Choose a location. I'm going to select Compatibility and create it. Okay, so click on 2D Scene. We can just call this Platformer. Press Ctrl S to save it. Okay, let's do some project settings first. Go to Boot Splash, set the background color to black, and turn off Show Image. Then go to Window and set the mode to Canvas Items. I'm going to create the background first. Thankfully, this time it isn't a gradient, so it's going to be easier. So create a canvas layer and call it background. Set the layer to -128. And then this time, I'm just going to add a color rectangle because it's just a one solid color. So I'm going to copy the background color from my project and then paste it here. And then I'm going to lock it. Okay, so hit play, select current. This is what I have so far, just a blue screen. Alright, so now I want to add the player. So right click on the file here and create a new scene. I'm going to call it player. Click this button here to choose what the scene will be. So search up character body 2D and then pick that. So this is going to be an instance for the player. So in Scratch, the player is just a yellow box. So I'm going to do that. So add a collision shape 2D. Select rectangle shape. See how it's a square? Now, you're not going to actually be able to see this, so I'm going to add a polygon 2D to this. Okay, turn on the grid, and now just draw a nice little square around that box. And set the color to yellow. I'm going to copy the color from my project, and then paste it into here. Okay, so there's the player. And I'm going to select the collision shape, set the ordering to 1 so I can see it, and then just resize it to fit the square. And then you can set the z-index back. So that's just the hitbox for it, basically. So if I go to the platformer, if I select the root and then drag in the player, yeah, there's the player right there. So hit play, and yeah, this little white square, I mean yellow square is going to be the player. So I think the player is a little small, so I'm going to go back to the player scene, select the player, go to transform and set the scale to 1.5. Anyways, I want to add like controls to this player and stuff. So thankfully this is a character body 2D, so it's going to be pretty easy. So create a new folder, call it scripts. Okay, select the player and attach a script to it. Choose the scripts folder. You can just call it player movement.gd. Create it, and look here, we already get a little default script for our character. So when I hit play, the player just falls down the screen. So I'm going to add a little collision box. So create a static body 2D. This is just for testing. Create a collision shape 2D. Make this rectangle. And now just like extend this out to be like the floor, kinda. And now we can go to debug visible collision shapes. So hit play. Okay, so let's see how our player works. So we can move left and right by using the left and right arrow keys. And when we press space, it will jump. Okay, so that's a nice start, but I want to make the physics more accurate to how it is in Scratch. So if I play the game in Scratch, the player is a little slippery on the floor. You can see it sliding a little bit, and we jump kind of like quicker, and also we have different controls. So the first thing I want to do is fix the controls for the player. So in Scratch, we have to say if right arrow or key D pressed, if left arrow or key A pressed, if up arrow or key W pressed. So thankfully in Godot, we don't have to do all that. We can just create an input map. So go to Project Settings, go to Input Map. Okay, create a new action called Player Left. Create another one called Player Right. And create one called Player Jump. So in the Player Left action, click the plus button and then hit the left arrow key. Click OK. Now click the plus button again and then click the A button. Okay, so for right, click the right arrow key and then click D. And then for jump, press the up arrow key and press W. So there's our input map. So I can replace this UI accept with player jump. I'm going to replace UI left with player left, and I'm going to replace UI right with player right. Okay, I'm also going to remove this comment because I got it. Okay, so hit play. Okay, now I can control the character with WASD and the arrow keys. So it's no longer space to jump. If you want to have space to jump, you can just go to the input map and then add space key there. So now you can press space to jump if you want. Personally, I'm not going to have it just because it doesn't really matter. Alright, so notice how this gravity thing is getting a project settings. So go to project settings, go to general, turn on advanced settings. So scroll down to physics 2D and you can see the default gravity is 980. So I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to first change this to 980.0. Okay, now we can like join it with the ones up here. Okay, let me also fix up these variables a little. I don't want these to be constants. I want them to be export variables. Okay, if you don't know what an export variable is, basically if I click on the player here, now we have some more properties here where we can adjust the speed. So if I set this to like 100, now the player moves slower. So yeah, and whatever you put on the equal sign will be the default value. Okay, so let me just fix this up a little, add some colons here, and I'm going to capitalize the variable names because they are export variables. You don't have to do this. This just comes down to personal preference, whatever works for you. I like to capitalize variables that are export variables. So now I'm just going to go through and change all the variable names down here. Okay, so everything should work the same. Yep, everything works the same. But I want it to be more like how it works in Scratch. So in Scratch, when we press the right or left arrow, it changes the x velocity by the speed, and then it multiplies it by the friction, and then it changes the x by the velocity. So I'm going to change this to be more like that. It's not recommended to do, but since I'm copying the Scratch project, I'm just going to do it. So first I'm going to create an export variable for the friction, set it to something like 0.8 because yeah, 0.8, that's what it is in Scratch. So instead of setting the velocity to the speed, what I'm going to do is say velocity x plus equals speed times direction times delta. Okay, that also fixes an issue with the default one where it wasn't multiplying it by delta. Okay, now I can just say velocity.x times equals friction. So hit play and let's see it. Okay, so our player moves really slow, so I'm going to have to change some of these numbers here. Okay, so the speed is 300. I found that a good number is 4,200. So let's see. Yep, so now the player moves at a good speed. The friction, I want the friction to be 0.85. And now the player moves left and right, similar to how it does in the Scratch project. Okay, so now we got the horizontal movement down. Now it's time for the vertical movement. So if I jump, it's pretty slow. So I'm going to change some of these numbers here. So I'm going to set the gravity to 2,200. And I'm going to set the jump velocity to -700. So hit play, and now it jumps a lot quicker. Now there's also an issue. So if I hold the jump button, then the player won't jump again once they hit the ground. Now in Scratch, if I hold the jump button, it will keep hopping. And that is called bunny hopping. So if you want that in Scratch, in Godot, all you gotta do is just remove just. And now it should work. So if I hold the jump button, then yeah, now we have bunny hopping. And by the way, in order to get these numbers, you would have to play around with it a lot. It took me a long time to figure out these numbers when I made the project before, but now since I know the numbers, I just put them in. So anyways, let's see how the slope physics work. So in Scratch, if we go back to the slope, yeah, as you can see, the slope physics are awful. We're bouncing down the slope, we're jittering upwards, and it's also really complicated to do. I just really didn't feel like working on the slope physics for this, because yeah, it's just really janky how it works in Scratch. So let's see how it works in Godot. So duplicate this collision shape, and right click it, make unique. Okay, now drag it to some place, maybe change the rotation. Okay, that's a nice slope right there. So hit play and let's see what happens. And look at that, we actually walk up the slope just fine. Now, you may notice that it's jittering down the slope. It might be more noticeable if I make the slope more steep. So let's see. Yeah, as we walk down the slope, it jitters downward. Okay, but there's actually an easy way to fix that. So go to the player scene, click on the player, scroll down to floor, and set the snap length to like 3. So hit play. Okay, let's go. Now walk down the slope. Okay, doesn't seem to be right just yet. So set the snap length to 5. See if that works. So go up the slope and then go down. And look at that. It has good slope physics, and we didn't even have to lift a finger because Godot has got it all for us. So great. Now we have good platforming physics. So I can go ahead and remove this test room. So turn off visible collision shapes and then delete the static body because now we're ready to create levels. So let's see how it works in Scratch. So I have a sprite called Solid, and it has a costume for each level, and the player detects the solid if it's touching it or not. And we also have a danger sprite that also has a costume for every level, and when you combine these two sprites together, it like joins together into one level. So we got the danger right here. The player is detecting the danger and it's also detecting the solid. In Godot, we don't have like a costume editor or something like that. So in Godot, what we can do is create a scene for each level. So I'm going to create a new folder called Scenes. Go ahead and drag the player into there just for organization. And now create a new folder called Levels. Alright, we'll come back to that later. So in the platformer scene, create a node 2D. Just call this Levels. Okay, now create a new node 2D. Call it 1 for level 1. And then duplicate it 4 times because there's 5 levels. Okay, so right click on 1 and then save branch as a scene. Go to Scenes, Levels, and then save it there. Okay, now do the same thing for 2. Save branch as a scene. Do the same thing for 3, for 4, and 5. So now all of these are instances. If I click on 1, click on 2, and then, yep, just open all of them by clicking the little clamper board. Okay, now select all of these and delete them because now I have them all opened in their separate scenes. So I want to make the level kind of like how it is here. What I'm going to do is make it a polygon 2D. So I'm going to create a polygon 2D, turn on the grid, and now just draw out the level. So just click to create a point. I'm going to make the little stairs here. It goes up like that. Okay, and now join it back at the start. Okay, so I want to make it extend past the screen. And yeah, so you can go back and edit these points if you don't think they're good. So that's what I'm doing. Sadly, you can't select multiple at a time. So that kind of sucks, but whatever. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to set the color of this. If I go to Scratch, just get the color of that shape and then paste it here. Okay, so if I turn off the grid, we can see it more clearly. So this is the level. Um, so in this levels node, I want it to contain the levels. So attach a script to it. Go to the scripts folder. We can just call it levels.gd and then create. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is define all of the levels. So open the levels folder down here, select all of them by holding shift, and then drag it in while holding control, and then it will drop all of them in as a variable. Now I'm going to make a little list for them, so I'm going to call it levels equals 1, 2, and by the way, it's using an underscore because if it didn't, then it would just be a number. And yeah, it's just going to count that as a number, not a variable name. So you have to put underscore before it. Now I want it to know what stage we're on. So in Scratch, I have a level variable. So I'm going to create a global variable for that. So right click here, create a new script, call it global, open it, and then create a variable stage equals 1. Now it's not global yet, so go to project settings, go to auto load, and then select global. So now it's a global variable. So once you add that to auto load, now this script can access it. So I'm going to create a function for creating a level. So function create level. You can just say variable level node2d equals levels global dot stage -1 dot instantiate. So what this is doing is accessing the levels list. It's getting the current stage, and the reason it subtracts it by 1 is because it starts from 0 on a table, and then it's going to instantiate that. So I'm going to say add child level. All right, we got 2 warnings here. Oh yeah, make sure this says levels with an S at the end. Uh, as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and clear confusion on that. We can just call this levels list. Okay, so that should clear confusion. Make sure that these two match. Okay, and the level variable is the level. So now we're going to call this function on ready. So on ready, just say create level. Hit play, and the level appears. The player seems to be going behind it. So select the player, select the polygon 2D, and set the ordering to 1. Alright, hit play, and yeah. So the player is going right through the ground. That's because there's no collision for the level. So I'm going to, in the create level function, what I'm going to do is detect what needs collision and then create it. Okay, so Polygon 2D, I want this to have collision. So in Scratch, we're detecting solid if touching solid. So I'm going to name this solid so that it knows that needs collision. So go back to our create level script. What I'm going to do is loop through everything inside the level. So for I in level dot get children, I'm going to say if I dot name dot contains solid, then first thing we're going to do is create a static body. So variable new static body, which is a static body 2D, and set it equal to static body 2D dot new. So that's going to create a new static body. So we can say I dot add child new static body, and now we're going to create a shape for that static body. So we can say variable new collision polygon 2D, and we're going to make it a collision polygon 2D dot new. And now we can say new static body add child new collision, and we're going to set the new collision dot polygon to I dot polygon. And of course, we're going to just make sure that it's a static body polygon 2D. So if I is what is polygon 2D. Okay. So there we go. Hit play, and now the ground has collision. So it's okay if you don't understand that. But yeah, just know that it works now. We have collision for the ground. Okay, so I want to make it, once we get to the right side of the screen, then it will switch to the next level. Okay, so what I'm going to do is in the player movement script, we're just going to detect what happens. So in Scratch, it says if the X position is greater than whatever, then broadcast next stage. So what I'm going to do is say if position.x is greater than or equal to what? Get the project settings, go to general, go to window, and get the width of the screen. Okay, 1150, sure. So if the position is greater than that, then what are we going to do? So here it broadcasts next stage. So in global, I'm going to create a signal called next stage. And in the player movement script, I'm going to say global.emit signal next stage. And we're also going to say global.stage plus equals 1. And then it also broadcasts reset. So what does reset mean? It basically just sets the position back to the start, and then it resets the velocity. So I'm going to create a function for that called reset player. Okay, so what are we going to set the position to? So instead of making it a hard-coded value, I'm going to set the starting position to wherever it is right there. So create on the ready function. So on ready, we can say what we're going to create a new variable called starting position vector2. And we can say on ready, starting position equals position. Okay, so in the reset player function, we can say position equals starting position, and then we can say velocity equals vector2 dot 0. Okay, and then once we reach the right side of the screen, we can just call that function reset player. Okay, so hit play, and once we reach the right side of the screen, then we get reset back to the start. Okay, let me set the starting position to like over here more, and let's see it. So now it will respawn there. Okay, so let me actually make it switch the level. So first I'm going to design a level 2. Okay, so turn on the grid, add a polygon 2D, and then just draw out the level. And I'm just going to get the color from here and then paste it into this polygon. Okay, now create another polygon 2D. I'm going to create the little ceiling right here, or whatever you want to call it. Alright, so now all I have to do is just name this solid, and then name this solid. It's going to say solid 2, but it's fine because it's just detecting if the name contains the word solid. Okay, so in the level script, I'm going to connect a function on next level, and on the next level, we're just going to say create level. And I'm going to connect that now, so global dot next stage dot connect on next level. And I'm going to rename this to on next stage because it just makes more sense. So hit play, and once the player reaches the right, then level 2 spawns. But there's an issue. You may notice how it spawns level 2 on top of level 1. So in the create level script, we're just going to delete any level that's in there already. So we're going to say if get children count is greater than 0, then get no. Get child 0 dot q free. So get child 0 just basically means delete the first child. So hit play. Once we reach the right of the screen, then we get sent to level 2. And once we reach the right, then we get sent to level 3, but there's no level 3. So let me create level 3. Okay, so this introduces a new mechanic, lava. So once you touch the lava, then it will reset you. We're going to figure that out, but first let's just draw out the level. Okay, there's the lava shape. Select it, and I'm going to make it red, just like it is in the Scratch project. Let me just copy the color, and then paste it here. And now set the Z index to -1. Select the polygon, name it solid, and then select the lava, and name it danger. Hit play, Okay, once we reach the right side of the screen, go to level 2. Okay, so here is level 3. So the lava doesn't actually do anything right now, so I'm going to need to make the lava do something, of course. First, let me just make my player a little bit lower down. Okay, that's better. Anyways, in this create level script, I'm going to add a new condition for danger. So if i.name.contains danger, then what we're going to do is create an area 2D for it. So first, let me go to the player and add a hurt box. So click the plus button and add an area 2D and call it hurt box. So this isn't the collision hitbox, this is the hurt box. Okay, create a shape, a collision shape 2D, make it a rectangle, set the ordering to 1 so I can see it, and then make it go over the player. And also set the color to red, just so we know that it's the hurt box. How many times am I going to say hurt box? So in the level script, let me go to danger. I'm just going to copy this and paste it here. But instead of creating a static body, I'm going to create an area 2D. So new area 2D, which is an area 2D. And we're going to make it an area 2D.new. So we're going to add child, new area 2D, and then just replace this variable with it. So yeah, if we hit play and then go to the lava, still nothing's going to happen. But now the lava has an area 2D and the player has an area 2D. So we can detect each other. So go to the player movement script. So I'm going to create a function called onHurtBox enter and just make it pass for now. So click on the player scene and in the ready function I'm going to connect the hurtbox.area entered, connect it to onHurtBox enter. So this is going to need a parameter called area 2D, and in the level script I want to make the area have a name. So after adding the area, we can say new area 2D dot name equals danger. So go to the player movement, we can say if area dot name equals danger, then reset player. Hit play, and let's go to level 3. Alright, let's see what happens. So once we touch the lava, then yep, we get reset right back to the start. And let's see if we can jump over this. Yep, we can jump over it. And then it brings us to level 4. So let's create a level with all the systems we made. Okay, so there's level 4. And for level 5, it's going to be the you win screen. So just copy this and then paste it into here. Now I'm going to create a canvas layer, call it text, add a label to it, and make it full screen. Make it say you win. Set the alignment to the center, go to theme overrides, select font color to make it black, go to font sizes and make it bigger. So it says you win, and then drag it from the bottom to bring it more up. So this text isn't going to have any sort of behavior to it. So yeah, let me just make the ground a little taller. Okay, so now we have all levels complete. In Scratch, well, we want to make sure that the level doesn't go past 5. So go to the player movement script and do the same thing. If global.stage is less than 5, then it won't go to the next one. So hit play and let's test out all of our levels. So there's level 1, here's level 2, level 3, which is actually kind of hard, and level 4 with the lava. Okay, come on, it's actually hard. Stop. Just let me, I'm just trying to showcase something. All right, it says you win. Now there's a little problem, which is that I can just walk off the screen. So in Scratch, this isn't a problem because there's like borders on the left and right. So I'm going to create those borders here. So create a static body 2D, call this borders. Inside of it, add a collision shape 2D. Create a new world boundary shape. Set the normal to x1, y0, and then drag it to the left a little bit. And you're just going to call this left. Duplicate left. Okay, call this one right. Right click on this and make unique. And I'm just going to drag it. Make sure you drag it from the blue part. Just drag it all the way to the right. And then set the normal to x-1. Okay, so now the player can't go past the screen. If we try to go to the right, then it actually gets stuck. So what I'm going to do is decrease this number to like 1140. And now let's see if that worked. So go to the right. And yeah. So now let's add the music. So in Scratch, you can listen to this nice music. Beautiful music. So it's just playing the sound forever on loop. So let me just export this music and bring it right into Godot. So just drag it in. There's an X on it, which means it didn't import properly. So delete that and let's try it again. So to fix that, I can just speed this up and then slow it back down and then export it again. And now let's see if it works now. Yeah, it works now. It's super weird, but whatever. So create a stream player, and we can just call this music. Drag in the music. Now we don't actually have to, well, first let me make sure the volume is right. Okay, that's way too loud. -30. I guess that's good. Now we don't actually have to add any code. What we can do is just click on this, go to import and set loop mode to forward, and then click re-import. And now for the music, just select autoplay. Alright, and we're done. So I'm going to play this in exclusive full screen. So go to project settings, set the mode to exclusive full screen, and hit play. Alright, here's our platformer. We can use the arrow keys, we can use WASD, whatever suits you better. We got nice and smooth slope physics, and we didn't even have to program anything for it, because Godot is just that awesome. Here's the lava. You touch it, you die. So don't touch it, and don't die. Level 4 is just a little test of your skills. And yep, you win. And yeah, thank you for watching me create this. Hopefully you learned something, and I'll see y'all